Welcome to Book Lounge by Libby. I'm Joe, and I'm so happy you're here. Remember to do all the podcasts and YouTube things, follow the show, leave a 5-star review, like, comment, subscribe down below, all that good stuff. But I won't take up too much of your time with the typical talking head nonsense. We are currently on our off-season schedule, so, you'll see 1 to 4 episodes per month until we return with season 4 at the end of September. In the meantime, if you have questions, comments, or suggestions for season 4, feel free to send me an email, bookloungebylibby@overdrive.com. Today, we are going to take you through our reading lists for Summerween, or just some things to get you in the vibe, in the energy, because what a concept, and I feel like it was made for me. And who better to join me than the Locked Booktician herself. Bree, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm here.
I'm always happy to have you here.
Oh my
And
gosh.
And I know you and I are horror readers always, but
Always.
there's something about summer scares that, I don't know, that this to me, yeah, we love the Halloween season for horror, but
Oh,
something
yes.
about the vibe of summer. What do you think of Summerween? What do you think of this, get spooky early?
I think that because I am a hater of Christmas, sorry, listeners and viewers, because I am the biggest hater for Christmas, I'm like, let's start early. Because, I feel like Walmart and Target and all those places start Christmas before Halloween even gets here. So
Truly.
to me, Summerween is like a prep for the final event. And it's
Yes.
oftentimes I feel like when I read horror in October or in the fall, it feels like more eerie, like creeping on your skin
Uh-huh.
versus in the summer, it's like light and bright. You don't feel so stuck in the world. So it kind
Yeah.
of preps you for it, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like I get a little more out of the story sometimes when I
Mm-hmm.
read it in the summer, but I
Yeah.
also feel like I can still get creeped out, but in a different, like you said, it's lighter. It's like I'm still in it, but I'm getting a different creep from it, if
Yeah,
that
for
makes
sure.
sense.
For
And I'm
sure.
I'm totally with you because I know people, I know plenty of people are complaining about holidays pushing earlier and earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but I love it for Halloween.
I love
I
it. Yeah.
I love my boyfriend and I have already started the hunt to see what's hitting the shelves because because the Halloween stuff comes out about now. Once we get past the
What?
4th of July, Michael's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, they all start putting the Halloween stuff out.
Oh, I need to go holler at them then. Cause
Oh
I just
yeah.
lost my favorite water bottle at the airport.
Well, then it's definitely time to get a new water bottle
It
and
is.
see what kind of creepy things are out there. But my best friend in Columbus every summer will do a week-long staycation in Columbus, and we hit up all the stores and we start hunting for the goodies. So the time is
Ooh,
now.
okay. And I'm a thrift store girly.
Oh,
So I
absolutely.
gotta go
Love the
holler
thrift.
at that. Okay.
What
Okay.
time do you start decorating for Halloween?
My house is spooky year round.
And
I
I
literally
respect
have
that.
witches live here, in front of my thing and witches brooms and I have ghosts hanging up in my the front part of my house already. That's been there since last October. And I
And you
was
know
gonna take it
what?
down. I was gonna take it down and my best friend was like, spooky is a lifestyle, Bree. I said,
Mhm.
and that's why I love that I live with you. Because you keep me humble. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolute no, I
Yes.
get it. As we are starting to combine households, he is definitely a spooky as year round. Uh, so
Do you
there are some things that stay out for him all year round. But I usually start decorating in August. So that way I
you
get
get
all
excited?
mid to end of August, I start decorating because if we were just end of July buying all this shit up at TJ Maxx, Home Goods,
It
Target,
needs a
all
place
that,
to go.
I don't want to put it away. I want to see my pretty things.
Immediately,
I,
actually.
I immediately. So end
Uh-huh.
of summer, I'm suddenly I guess it's time. And the colors in my house, like they're made to like be complemented by creepy, spooky decor. So
Oh, I
so I'm
love
I'm here for
that.
it. But I do love Christmas. So
I
I'll
gotta
have
turn off my camera. No, I'm just just kidding.
but no, I respect that you don't because like I just like the lights. I mean, Brie,
Oh,
look,
the lights are pretty.
I
I'm
mean,
not
look
gonna
at
lie.
me. Look at me. What about me says
The
subtle?
no,
Sa- Says doesn't like pomp and circumstance?
no,
Like,
I knew I was feeling the Christmas
ah,
energy for you.
I like the display of it all. And I'm like a 95-year-old grandma where I'm like, well, time to clear out the china from the china cabinet to decorate it for Christmas. So like I'll put things away in my house to put things out.
Wow, I never even
Yeah.
thought of that, putting
Yeah.
things away. It just seems
Oh
like
yeah.
too much.
It is. That's why I
Yeah.
start after my birthday in November.
I feel you. Cause literally my
Uh-huh.
bookshelves, like, this is
Oh
one
yeah.
of the things. Like, the
Ooh, love.
bookshelf, I have about 20 of these candles on my bookshelf, so it's already I probably should get into the something. I don't
Get
know. Ooh,
into the spirit.
that was too bright. Okay, but yeah.
No, I feel you, but that
Yeah.
makes sense. I
Mhm.
like it. I like that we're setting the energy early. And I like I had heard it over the years, but this was the first year that I feel like my algorithm was hitting me with Summerween, blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
Agreed.
okay, let's get into
Agreed.
it. We're going to be
Agreed.
aggressive about it. I won't stop. That's fine. So the books that we're coming with, some we're mid read, some we've talked about before but love, some, we're just trying to give you a little shake up to consider. Um,
Mhm.
my first pick is the How to Survive Camping series. Book one is called How to Survive Camping. They're by Bonnie Quinn. It is campy, cozy horror with a Welcome to Night Vale comparison. So if you like any of those things, it's there for you. I know I do. The series started in 2025 with The Man with No Shadow. Then in April of 26, we got The Lady in Chains. And then this September, right in line with Halloween, is The Ancient Things. So there's plenty coming. But the description for book one, if you haven't checked it out, like fun covers, lovely time. It's listed as fantasy fiction horror humor. So I think you get the sense there, but a campy, cozy horror novel about a manager of a haunted campground just trying to get through the season, perfect for fans of Grady Hendrix, Rachel Harrison, and Welcome to Night Vale. Those are three faves for me, so I'm not mad at that. I am a campground manager. I don't have a list of rules because I'm not trying to ruin your fun. I'm trying to keep you from doing small, simple things that could result in your horrific and most agonizing demise. Goat Valley Campground has killed generations of Kate's family. The land is old, passed down through generations, but the campground's reputation doesn't just draw campers year after year. Creatures from folklore and horror have made Goat Valley not just their home, but their hunting ground. As campground manager, Kate has rules to protect her campers. If the man with the skull cup offers you a drink, accept it or you will die a gruesome death. Don't buy ice from the children with no wagon. And of course, never follow the lights. Still, not every camper follows the rules, which means not every camper survives their stay. Soon, decapitated and ensanguinated campers are the least of Kate's worries. One of the most dangerous inhabitants of the campground is determined to claim the land for himself. Meanwhile, something in the land is shifting, the tides are turning, and the curse that hunts members of her bloodline begins to close in. So that is the How to Survive Camping series by Bonnie Quinn. Again, a little bit of camp, a little bit of folklore. I think it might be a good, it felt to me like a good Summerween pick because you had the camping, because like the atmosphere was kind of matching what you might be doing or thinking about other people doing right now. Cause
Mhm.
your boy's not camping. Uh,
Yeah.
like, I own a tent. Have I pitched it? Not yet. Maybe one day.
I went
Uh, s-
camping on my birthday.
Ooh,
It
how
was
was
just really
that?
outside of my grandma's house. That's really what it was, but it was fun. We had, like, a little projector up. We watched Practical Magic.
Oh, I love that.
I love Practical Magic. I don't
Oh,
care
me
what nobody
too.
say.
I
At your
think
mama, don't at
it's like
me.
a perfect movie. But Bree, I'm with you because that's exactly what I bought the tent for, to set it up
Yeah,
in my backyard so I could take my niece camping.
exactly. Exactly. Like, why do you got to go somewhere when you got grass right behind?
I happen to
You
have
got
grass right in
outside.
the
You
backyard.
got outside at home.
We got outside at home.
I mean, why do you need to go and do extra? I
And I
get
mean,
it.
like, I got Snow White backyard here. Like, I have deer that come through every night to eat the apples off the ground, and there's raccoons and stray cats and all sorts
Well,
of things. Like, what's a
listen,
campground gonna bring me?
but I also want to ask a question that's kind of not related, but is your
I
apples
love it.
tasty?
They are. They're incredible.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I love applesauce. I might have to come and visit you.
Please, Bree, you're
I
welcome
love
anytime.
applesauce.
The applesauce is amazing. Like we've turned them into applesauce. They make good pies. They make good applesauce. They're
Wow.
also just good straight off the tree.
Wow. I'm
Little
allergic to
sweet, little
fresh
tart.
apples.
Oh, so you have to have them cooked. Okay,
I have to have
fair.
them cooked. And to me,
Interesting.
like when I lived in Ukraine, there's a ton
Hmm.
of apples. Like they're famous
Yeah,
for their apples.
I was gonna
And
say
if
they're
you
big
go,
on applesauce
they're
in
big on
Ukraine.
apples. They are. So you go to like a bazaar and they'll cut a piece of apples for you and let you try it before you even buy it, which I wish America did more of that at our farmers markets. But you cut a piece open to try it. And I found that if you have apples that are a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of tar, you don't even have
Hmm.
to add sweetener. You just cook them down
Absolutely,
and they are delicious applesauce, like
and that's
so freaking good.
And that's exactly what we do. We just cook them
Hmm.
down. I might put a teaspoon of sugar in because it feels wrong not to, but,
Yeah,
like, I gotta put a little bit in, but I'm
a
like,
little
it's
bit
the
in it.
the daintiest teaspoon in, like, a 5-gallon bucket of
Yeah.
applesauce. That didn't do anything.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
will
No,
put
it's
a
so good.
cinnamon in mine sometime.
Mhm.
That's good
I don't
too.
mix it in, but I like to, like, give that as the option, like, "Oh, you wanna have some applesauce?" Like, put the cinnamon out with it.
Oh, yeah.
Cinnamon at your own
Oh,
risk. Yeah.
wow.
Well,
We're getting ready for fall, clearly.
we're ready for I mean, hey, come visit. I'll make you applesauce, and I'm near the Ukrainian village here where I live, so we could also get some really good Ukrainian food if you're missing it.
Ooh, they got some good mulled wine, I bet.
Mhm,
I bet.
mhm.
Ukrainians do mulled wine well. Okay,
Yeah, they
my
do.
bad. I had to
No,
interject. My
please.
bad. Okay. All right. So the first book I'm going to talk about is a book I actually finished like 10 minutes before we started. I finished like 10 minutes before we started, but it's okay. It is a book that a lot of people in the book community have read,
Mhm.
and they've talked about it over and over again. And I didn't think that I was going to like it, but it's short and sweet, and I enjoyed it. So it's called Carmilla. It's by Sheridan Lifanu, I think is how you pronounce the author's name. It is literally a quick read. I think it's an hour and 50 minutes on the audiobook. So it's
Oh,
quick.
wow.
It's very quick. And it follows the story of this little girl. Her name is, I wouldn't say little girl, young woman. And her name is Laura. And she is living in this town where they don't have access to a lot of things. It's a very isolated town. And she's living there with her dad. And one day while her and her dad was having a conversation, this lady and this other young woman comes like rushing in on carriage. And the lady is like, she's sick. I don't know how to help her. Like, I don't know what's going on. And Laura's dad, who fancy himself as like kinda a physician, checks her pulse and he goes, well, it's kind of faint, but she's like kind of like alive. And
Eh,
she's whatever, right?
she's
And
around.
she's around. And then the woman was like, "Oh, well, I can't really stop my trip for her." I said, "Wait a minute. What you mean
Oh,
you can't stop your trip for her?" She
what's
goes,
that? Okay.
"Right." She goes, "I can't stop the trip." And the woman, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say the woman is her mother. So she's like, "I don't want to stop my trip. I can't stop my trip. I need to drop her off somewhere." But then Laura, who is so desperate to have a friend, and the only friend that she would have had died mysteriously like hours before.
Mm.
She begged her father to be like, "Can we take care of her?" And the girl mother was like, "I don't know if I can put this on you. That's a lot to put on you to take care of, somebody you don't know."
Yeah.
And Laura's dad was like, "This would be a great comfort to my daughter. She recently lost a friend. It'd be good for her to have another friend in the house." But then, like, creepy shit starts happening, not only
Mhm.
in the house, but to other young girls in the community. So everyone's coming sick, things are happening to them. They don't really know what's going on. And then one day, the main character, Laura, wakes up with the same kind of sickness, only to realize the monster that everyone is looking for is closer than she thinks. So I think that this is a really good like vampire book. It's very short, it's very sweet. There
Mhm.
is a lot of red flags that I feel like a lot of the characters should have like been looking at. They did not. They were just living in La La Land. But
Mm.
I do think it's like I said, short and sweet. It gives you like an introductory to horror before you read the rest of the novels that you would read that would have more like longer or lengthy horror themes. I think just this novella is just a good entry into Summerween.
I think that's such a good point. And one of my favorite books from last year was Hungerstone, which was a modern adaptation of Carmilla.
Okay.
It was an update, kind of like sapphic. Instead of her father, it's her husband who is, like not great to her. And so, like, yeah, I think it's a real, I still haven't read actual Carmilla. So I think it's a
Uh huh.
great thing to be able to go back to. I pulled it up. It's from 1872 and it predates Dracula by 25 years. So I, I just throwing that out there. Like,
Come on. You a millennial. You looked that
uh
up, didn't you?
huh.
I know a millennial when I see one.
A millennial hates to see me coming. I'm typing fast. I'm coming with the facts. But but like I think you're also so right to pull because that's why like my first pick was short series. I've got like a short story collection in here and the same thing like novella because that also speaks to summer to me. And
Exactly.
I love your approach as well because like I don't know. I think the like lay the groundwork of look at where we've come from. If this is one
Mm-hmm.
of the like baseline gothic novels
Yeah,
and compare it against like what are we still doing in some of your more modern reads compared to what they were doing in 1872.
exactly.
So, um,
Exactly.
what did you think? Because you were saying like the hype, and I know a lot of the girlies online talking about Carmilla. What did you think having like finally read it? Because the whole like expectation versus reality versus like why is everyone talking about this? Do you have any? I know you finished it like 10 minutes ago, but
Yeah. No, no,
any
no, that's good.
senses?
So usually if it's a book that I think I might be interested in, I just see people like talking about it, but I don't really read what they're saying because people spoil things in a way that they probably don't think that it's a spoiler, but it's a
Yep,
spoiler for me. So I don't really like listen to it. I just see the cover and see the person and I'd be like,
I love
okay.
that.
But then there's been people, so in the horror community, bookish community, there are people who I'm like, if you like that book, I'm gonna love it as well. And if you hated
Yeah,
that book, I'm gonna love it. And
you're
if you loved it, I'm going to hate it. So it's been
absolutely.
a lot of people who have loved it, and I usually hate everything they love.
Uh
I
huh.
was nervous about that because I'm like, we're
Yeah.
never on the same page. Like, we're never on the same page.
So you
But
were
to
truly seeing
me,
like positive from like all
all
of the sides
sides, all
that
the
you are usually like,
sides.
meh.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
was nervous about that. And I was like,
Man.
actually, this wasn't a bad read at all. And I just loved when you were saying like where we were and like where we're at. And I was thinking about like my favorite thing about horror, which really makes horror really good for me, is how suspenseful you can make the atmosphere.
Yes.
If I feel like the atmosphere is like a character of its own and it's like you
Hmm.
feel that gothic horror feel, you feel literally hairs on your skin stand up, like you feel
Absolutely.
uncomfortable. That is like my favorite type of horror. So I felt that in Carmilla for sure because I was like, at one point I thought one of the main characters, Laura, at
Mhm.
one point I thought Laura like clocked on to what was
Yeah.
happening. And then I was like, oh, sister did not. She in fact
Sister
did not.
clock. You got
Sister
to clock it, sister.
girl. And I was like, "Ooh, this young baby just really wanna have a
Mm,
friend." So she's, like, not
hmm.
even thinking about the real danger that's in her face because she just
Yeah.
wanna be a friend. And her dad is, like, trying to handle her with such care, and because of, like, misogyny and what people thought of women and young girls, he didn't even think at all that a person that he possibly could know could be a danger to him and his daughter.
Right.
So I was just like, wow, those are still things that exist today. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say like as strongly in like an American context, most
Right.
places, but
Right.
that those things exist all over the world where it's like
Absolutely.
I have to be like this delicate flower with this
Hmm.
young girl because she couldn't possibly be
She
able to
couldn't.
speak for herself or
She couldn't
understand
possibly
herself.
understand what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, to your point, like when you were talking about, like how you thought she had clocked it, but she didn't, and because she so desperately wanted a friend. But I also love that that is a part of like the time or the period, along with like the gothic sensibility. Because I'm thinking of
Yeah.
We Have Always Lived in the Castle and
Mhm.
Hill House.
Uh-huh.
In both of those instances, where you're just kind of like everyone should know better, but the gothic trappings dictate that we suspend our disbelief because like I think that's what's so interesting about the difference between like gothic and horror now.
Exactly.
Because I
Mhm.
even just think about like a couple years ago, horror was still just a genre for movies. Like
Yeah.
I know that's a little broad strokes, but
I
like
know, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it was kind of hidden in other things. And very often it was misclassified as like sci-fi or thriller or we don't really know where to put this unless it's a gothic, unless it's a
Yeah.
monster story.
Mhm.
And now
Mhm.
we're just seeing straight up and there's so much we went from like you could describe a gothic in 5 words and people know what they're getting to now
Yeah.
like you could be getting anything.
You could be getting anything. And I think it's like so much genre blending happening now because I feel like a lot of times, like when I first joined BookTube in 2019, I felt like in certain book spaces, gothic horror was synonymous with dark academia.
Yes.
And I was like,
Even
well,
when I joined the
that's not.
podcast in 2022, the same thing, like
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like all those different things. But to me, this felt like horror on so many levels. And one thing I always like to tell people is that my favorite thing about horror is the social content, the commentary. You're always going to get a glimpse into what's happening at that time in horror. Rather, it's
yes.
a full part of the book, it's mentioned in the book. Because even in Carmilla, one of the characters told another character, I'm trying not to like spoil it, but
Yeah.
one character told another character and explained like being a young woman to a caterpillar and then becoming a butterfly and like how protective they can be in the cocoon and like all of that was very, I thought, telling of what
Mhm.
it was like to be a young woman at that time and how
Right.
limited you were and how like all eyes on you once you bloom in a way. And it's like, now I have to find a man and he has to take care of me and extra and, you know, and all these other
Yeah.
things. So I just feel like a good horror to me, like I said, have some strong suspenseful elements. It's eerie, you can feel it, and that it is commentary, it's commenting on things that are happening socially that shouldn't be happening
I
or
love that
should be
point.
critiqued.
Right.
Mhm.
I love that point because I feel like I just understood in the last few years that I'm a horror reader, that I love it and that like it is a genre and oops, that's the majority of what I read. Because I was still stuck in the like, does it exist beyond just like these 5 books? And
Yeah.
now they like know how to serve it to me. So great.
Yeah.
I'll gobble it all up.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing is like you can absolutely like the reason why I love it so much is that right, you can walk into it even if you don't like to be scared, and you
Mhm.
could put on different glasses and go, I'm reading this to see what is horror representing in this narrative. Like
Yep.
the only time you're really not going to get a moral of the story is in a slasher. And that's not even true because usually
Yeah.
slashers lean a little satirical. So like
Mhm.
there is commentary in all parts of horror. So you
Mhm.
can sit down and read the book and just be scared and have a great time. Or you can like dig in a little bit and see what you can take away from it. Or you can like go all the way into like book report mode and go, well, I can't get into the creeps, but I can get into why this book is important.
I
So
agree.
I
I
want
agree.
people to try it.
Horror to me is the ultimate cautionary tale written down.
Thank you.
The ultimate cautionary. It's like this, and a lot of people read horror and they be like, "Oh no, like none of these things could really happen." It's like, are you watching true crime? Because
Thank
human
you.
beings, we are apex predators. We are capable
Mhm.
of some unspeakable things.
Unspeakable and unbelievable. Like
Unbelievable things.
I used to listen to like a lot of true crime podcasts, and in the recent years I've really had to like back off of it
You
because
do.
you hit a point where you're like, oh,
The
I
wor
the world is bad enough. I simply cannot hear the worst underbelly parts of it. Like,
No,
I
no.
can't have bad all the way down. Like,
Yeah, it's and
oh,
as a therapist, like, just seeing the
hmm
people who committing these, like, just unspeakable crimes and the lack of empathy is
the lack
in
of
Diablo
empathy.
land.
Hmm
It's something serious. It's something serious, yeah,
It
for
scares
sure.
me. It scares me someday.
Mhm,
Oh, and I don't know how you
absolutely.
do it. I have so much
I
respect
don't.
for our therapists. Like,
I don't
oof.
either, but
Well,
I do it.
and that's all. And we thank you for that because like
Yeah,
we need it.
yeah,
Um,
mhm.
Well, my next pick is The Unmothers, and I have like a few sneaky recs I'm going to put in with this one because this blends. Oh, it's by Leslie J. Anderson. It blends a few things that really feel summery to me, but we follow Marshall. Marshall is still trying to put the pieces together after the death of her husband. After she is involved in a terrible accident, her editor sends her to the small backwards town of Rayford to investigate a clearly ridiculous rumor that a horse has given birth to a healthy human baby boy. When Marshall arrives in Rayford, she finds an insular town that is kinder to the horses they are famous for breeding than to their own people. But when two horribly mangled bodies are discovered in a field, one a horse, one a human, she realizes that there might be a real story here. As she's pulled deeper into the town and its guarded people, her sense of reality is tipped on its head. Is she losing her grip? Or is this impossible story the key to a dark secret that has haunted the women of Rayford for generations? Unbearably tense and utterly gripping, this atmospheric tale of female rage, bodily autonomy, and generational trauma hails the arrival of a masterful storyteller. So, again, that is The
Mm,
Unmothers by
you have
Leslie
me at
J.
generational
Anderson.
trauma.
Right? I'm like, I know I have some key buzzwords in here for you.
Mhm.
I think with all of these, it's the like so the Unmothers as well as the other two I'm going to mention, they lean into like the folklore horror, which I love folklore stories in all varieties all around, but I think for me, summer horror specifically, folklore speaks a lot to like campfire stories and that kind of like urban legend and all that. So it's really, really fitting. I think it could also pair well with The Bog Wife by Kay Chronister and Smother Moss by Alyssa Alring. So just a little flight of folklore for everyone.
Okay. I wanted
Yeah.
to, mention a book. It's a
Please.
horror slasher, um,
Ooh, my favorite.
young adult. Yeah, it's a horror slasher young adult, and I've probably mentioned it before if you guys ever heard or seen me talk about it, but it was for your first book, How to Survive Camping. It gives me the vibe of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron.
Oh, love that book.
So that's a good comparing if anyone was looking for another rec in the same vein.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I'm adding it to the list.
Yes. It's
It's
too
a
good.
it's a great book.
Hmm.
And I don't know. My brain was wrecked by Pretty Little Liars when I was developing, I feel like. So,
Same.
so
They didn't even know who A was. Let's be
period.
real.
They never did,
They
never will.
they never will. They kept switching it up on
I
us.
don't think anyone knew who A was.
No
None of the
one knew.
writers, none of the characters.
None of them. They
But
still to this day.
I had my first wisdom tooth taken out in the summer, right when the first season of Pretty Little Liars hit Netflix. So me on those post-extraction pain pills, laying in a recliner, ice pack in hand, just episode after episode, it changed me. So,
Oh yeah.
so something about like a powerful YA thriller, or
Mhm.
in this case, because You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight is definitely horror because it's
Yeah.
got the supernatural elements, but like
Yeah.
either of the like that's some of my favorite YA, especially in the summer, because it
Yeah.
just, I don't know, it tickles some sort of like nostalgic itch for me.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It was good. It was good. I'm
Oof.
still a charmed girly, so I mean,
Free. You know where you're at.
yeah,
you
I'm
know.
still.
you know what podcast you're on.
Oh my goodness. Could I show you something? I
Please.
don't know if that's like okay. So
Oh,
this
absolutely it is.
my best friend bought me the best birthday gift this year for my birthday. Your
Stop.
and hold up, the
Oh.
CDs. The CDs.
Is it the whole series?
It's the whole series plus bonus content, and
Oh,
it has all the spells that was in
in the show.
in the show. Yep.
Oh,
See?
I love it. Stop
Yeah,
it. That's
I know.
incredible.
I was like,
Oh,
"What?
now that's a good gift.
This is this is the birthday gift of all
That
time, for sure.
oh,
For sure.
1,000%.
For sure." Sorry to
Oh,
anybody else who have given me a gift. No, just kidding.
I thought you were apologizing to the listeners. I was like, they know
Yeah.
what podcast this is and who's here right now.
I was
It,
like, "Oh my god."
it wouldn't be an episode with us together if we didn't talk about Charmed.
Yeah, that is very true. I think we always talk about job.
I'm
It's
pretty
too
sure just
good.
about every episode we're together.
You know,
Oh,
it's a good one. I mean, there's some issues, but childhood
well,
memories.
hey, we're still kicking, and it's
We're
honestly for the most part it still holds up.
Yeah, for the most part. There's some parts I'm like, "Ooh,"
Yeah,
but for
there's
the
some
most
parts I
part,
go,
yeah. But here we are.
oh
Sorry.
no,
Let's get
please.
back to Okay, so the next book I'm gonna talk about it's called Dead First by Johnny Compton. Johnny Compton has become an auto read for me. I do plan on doing a guide to his books once a couple more books come out, so be on the
Can't
lookout
wait.
for that. But Johnny Compton really, to me, has a real gift of writing suspense scenes and like carrying the eeriness throughout the book. Even if it seems like it's a pause, you're
Mhm.
kind of like grabbing something because you're like, oh my God, what's about to happen in this next scene?
Edge of your seat kind
On
of
the edge of your
energy.
seat,
Ooh, I
yeah,
love
because you're
that.
like, I don't know what's gonna happen type
Mhm.
of thing. And
Yeah.
two, if I'm being honest, when I first read from Johnny Compton, the first book I read from him was The Spite House. And I enjoyed The Spite House, but I was like, I need to read more. Like, I gotta read more from this author to see how I feel about him because now this book I'm talking about right now has officially made him an auto buy for me. It's officially we're in there now, Johnny.
And
Me
that
and
and
you,
that's powerful. Like,
yeah, we're in there, Johnny.
yeah,
What else you got? Put it on.
girl,
So
I'm ready.
I'll
Put the next book out.
put it out. Why are you sitting there taking a break? This ain't a time for
Get
break.
back to the typewriter, Johnny.
Get back to it. So that first, which is so funny because when Joe said earlier in the podcast, like somewhere in the middle of this book, I have taken from the library, read some. Libby took it away from me. Libby said I need it back. I got it again. I didn't finish it. Libby took it again. So I'm waiting on the third one so I can finish the book. But this is like a very strange story. And either it's the first chapter or the first couple chapters, really put you in a mind frame where you're like, there is no way I can't finish this book. You know how sometimes you'll read the first couple chapters or the first chapter and you're like,
Yep.
yeah, I'm probably going to DNF this. There is no way. So I'm just going to like briefly tell you what happened and then tell you where I'm at and
Yeah.
not spoil it. But that first tells the story of this young woman. She has an ability. Her ability makes her sought after by people to kind of like figure out what's happening supernaturally. And she's in a relationship with another woman who is kind of in the same vein of like supernatural gift as well. And she gets invited to this house for a job. She shows up at the house, and out of nowhere, another guy who was at the house, I think he like took a poker and jammed it in his head immediately. Immediately. I mean, jammed the thing in his head
Okay.
immediately, and you're like, the hell? Like, and you're freaked
And we
out.
started gripping things.
And we're starting gripping things, right? So you're like, what the hell? The character is like, what the hell? And then next thing you know, the guy wakes up, pulls the thing out, and he's like, hey, so I don't know why I can't die, but I need you to help me figure out why I can't die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're
Okay.
following the story of her trying to make a decision if she wants
Mm.
to be the one to figure out the things that he wants her to figure out for him. It's a lot of
Interesting.
money on the line. We're talking millions,
Ooh,
right?
I'd be
Then
figuring. I can tell
right.
you right now, I'd be
Let me
figuring.
you better call me Inspector Gadget.
Jessica Fletcher is on the case. I'm ready.
On the case,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So I was just Nancy drew me. Seriously. So
Columbo me
you're
right out the door. I'm ready.
right out. So I was like, "Ooh, girl, that's a lot of money to think about it." So she's trying to like figure it out, but she also has some secrets that she's keeping away from the woman that she was dating. So they're not dating now, where I'm at in the story. They broke up. But they broke up like before. We don't even know why. Like they broke up right now. I don't know why, but I know they ain't together.
We'll find
So
out.
they're trying, but she's holding some secrets back. I
Mm.
think that she has a more sinister background than she's putting on, and I think that is what's getting in the way of her decision making.
Oh, sure.
But then there's a scene where they go to like this bar. And next thing you know, there's a bunch of spirits there. And the girlfriend is kind of like, you don't see this? You don't see what's happening? And she's like, what are you seeing? She's
Mm.
like, there's so many people in this room. And these spirits are attached to the man with the poker.
Oh.
And that is where I'm at.
Oof. I'm sorry the book was stolen from you.
I'm
But
so mad about it. I'm so mad about it. So I
I'll see
won't
what I
I
can
won't
do.
go too like deep, I won't go too deep into everything that's happening
Yeah.
because there's like some other layers that's just like completely
Yeah.
shocking. But I'm very curious to see, is she gonna truly take him up on his offer? There's clearly some dangers happening. Are you gonna heed the danger? Are these spirits foe or are they malicious? Are these spirits there to tell you, baby, you shouldn't be helping this man?
Mm.
Because when you ask this
Mm.
man, do you know like where you came from? Do you know who you are? He don't have answers to things he should have
Mm.
answers to.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole book
Okay.
is just like a mystery within a horrific mystery, just it's
Oh.
balled up
Mm.
inside of itself. And I'm very interested to see how he untangled the threads.
Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah.
love that. I also love that you've been interrupted twice and you're still like, I knew from the
I'm
beginning
in
that
it.
I'm in it, and I knew this is now like an auto borrow, auto read
Yeah.
author for
Mhm.
me. Like,
Mhm.
there's no doubt about it. I
Yeah.
think that's I think that's very telling. I
Yeah.
don't think there is anything wrong with being mid book and being like, I'm recommending this because this could take a turn in the next 20 pages, and I still think as far as I am was worth reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if the ending is lackluster, it's
Right.
still a 4 star for me right now. Like
Right.
even if the
The
to me
journey
the
was worth
ending don't exact to me the ending does not make and break a book for me. How I read,
not
I'm here for the
always.
journey. There's sometimes
Abs
that I'd be like, "What you mean it was the uncle? Well, we never heard about this uncle the whole
Mm,
time." That's the only time where that throws me off. You just threw a wrench
right.
in. We ain't never heard about uncle. We don't know who uncle is.
If I didn't have the opportunity to figure it out, I'm not necessarily saying I'm trying to figure it out, but if I didn't
Yeah.
have even a glimmer of hope
Yeah.
I might get a little mad about that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean it was a character we never met?
We never met
All
this
right,
character at all.
but
And
I'm
you're
fully
like,
with
"It was the
you.
uncle."
But
What?
oh, of course it was. I knew it the whole
Mhm.
time.
That
But I'm with you. For me, like, I have been trying to put my books in Goodreads just to like see how many books I read a year. I don't set goals. I don't care about any of that,
Yeah.
but I don't leave reviews. I don't rate them because I am completely off of vibes. Like
Yeah.
the deepest, darkest depths of hell I go to with rating books is my tag in Libby for books I DNF. And that's only if
Mm.
it's the one that's like, I will never read this because I've talked about this in a past episode, but like there's ones where I'm like, okay, you still get to be on the TBR. It's just not the right time right now. And then there
Yeah.
are ones where I go electric chair.
Exactly.
And like
Got to go.
that is like the darkest I get
Yeah.
with like the world of books. But
Yeah.
I have an episode coming up. I won't spoil it, but I've been reading some book reviews as of late, and people are wild
They are. I
with what
used
they
to do a
hate.
series of one reading, reacting to 1 star reviews.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, man, they are brutal.
They are like I was looking at one of here's a little sneak peek, y'all. You'll hear it in a few weeks, but of Sailor Moon, and it was like 1 star, all of this like nonsense, and then it was like, I just don't think manga's for me, and I was like, so why'd you rate it? So you've determined the format isn't for you. So why'd you rate it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
all you got today was a lesson. That's okay. Like I
But I
couldn't
will
understand what
say,
was going on. Blah blah blah. Anyway.
right. But I will say this, like, there is a
Mm.
book, I won't say the book name.
I mean, you can. I
There
won't stop you.
there
Free speech.
there is a book I read this year. And if you follow my channel, you already know what I'm talking about. There is a book I read this year. There's a sequel that I'm still gonna read, but I had to fight for my kitchens in the back to stay in the book because the misogyny was
Ooh.
so damn it was giving me a 1-2. It was squaring up with me
Mm.
outside in the middle of the street,
Yep.
shoes off. You hear
Ooh,
me?
not shoes off.
And
That's how you know.
shoes off. It was squaring me up. And I was like, "Oh, this is hard." So then I said, "No, it couldn't have been this person from this demographic writing this. This couldn't be true."
Oh
So
no.
then I said, I have to go to Storygraph for Goodreads, and I usually
Uh-huh.
gravitate to Storygraph. So
Yeah,
I go on
I started using
Storygraph.
both because I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
it's nice over here. Like
it's nicer
we're in
over
a
there.
nice neighborhood in
It's
Storygraph.
nicer on Storygraph. So I go on Storygraph, and I was looking at the 1 star, and people
Yeah.
were just like, they were really kind, you know.
Oh,
But
I
then I
like
said,
that.
let me go to Goodreads because I got
You
some
needed some hate.
thoughts.
Yeah.
And I need to know I'm not alone in my hateration. I just need to
Mhm.
know. I go on people said, "I
Absolutely.
DNF this shit. I don't know why I read it." And people were going in. So then I start being like, what's the disconnect between readers like me who reacted to this book in a certain way. Because the theory of the book is great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the name after because I don't wanna do it,
Please.
but
Yeah.
the theory of the book is fantastic.
Yeah.
But the misogyny
Ah.
and, like, the sexual assault culture within it, it
Ugh.
was so hard. So I was like, "I don't know how I'm gonna get through this." And
Yeah.
then seeing other people who, like, I really love their book reviews being like, "5 stars, this is great, this is wonderful." And I was like, was the 5-star in the room with us?
Why right. Where did you find 4 and a
Where
half
did
other
you
stars for this book?
'Cause I'm fighting for myself, and it's so hard that I can't even it's rare. There's sometimes where I just don't wanna be a mean reviewer. Like, not
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm typically not a mean reviewer.
Yeah.
And when I get to a book and I feel the ways that I feel right now for this book, I
Mhm.
typically don't even rate it. So
Absolutely.
I didn't rate this one.
I tend to I'll throw, like, a rating in Goodreads when I go, like, "Oh, this is my 5-star book of the" like,
Yeah.
when it hits the tippy top, I'll hit all 4 and go, "Okay, fine." But I'm with you, like, I love to sip the haterade, but not publicly. Like, in the comfort and safety of my own home, absolutely, I'm hate reading those reviews on both platforms.
Yeah.
But there's something like, and I'll probably say this in the episode that's coming, but, like, I am of the belief that there is an ass for every chair. Like, there's a lid for every Tupperware, like, even if it's just some stretched out Saran wrap, like,
Yeah.
there is a lid for every Tupperware somewhere. And so I think it's the same thing with books, like, sometimes people need to look at it and go, "That wasn't for me." And that's okay. But but also on the flip side, not to discredit because that's not why I was saying that. I just think that, like, when I look at some reviews where I'm like, "Oh, this is one of my all-time favorite books," and I just don't think it was for the people who are rating it 1 star, and that's not even,
Exactly.
like, my, like, rose-colored glasses. I'm like, some of this is racism, some of this is one of my all-time favorite books is Beloved, and you wanna have a bad time, go read those reviews. Um
You wanna have a terrible time, go and read if you want the worst of times, go and read
Uh-huh.
anything that
I
Toni Morrison wrote because the
Yeah.
whites
Yeah.
hate her for real.
I had to I was like, "Okay, and I won't be using that book for this episode," because not only are they the longest reviews I've ever seen of any book, I'm
They
like,
are
"Oh,
bad.
these aren't even you didn't even try to be funny with this." I'm like, either you
No.
didn't get it or, like, I don't know, no one's forcing you to read this. Read whatever you want.
Yeah, but, like,
But
I said that recently on, one of my videos. I can't remember if it's one I posted or just still working on the editing of it. But I was like, "Just because you can't relate to what the character is going through doesn't mean that the book is trash." That it
exactly.
does not mean that the book is trash.
Exactly.
You know I read a lot of Black and
Mhm.
indigenous,
Yep.
horror. I do.
Yeah.
It's my and really, if we
And I'm
add
with you.
in
I'm coming
Japanese detective,
Uh-huh.
I'm
Oh,
into it.
I'm with you because I'm like, I'm looking like, "What's Bree reading right now?" Because I'm with you because those are some of the best versions
The
of horror that
best.
I love.
It's so freaking good.
But you
And
can't
there's
look at
sometimes I don't know
Mhm.
what they're talking. I've never experienced with being Black and being monolithic is not, I mean, being Black and being indigenous is not monolithic. So
Exactly.
there's some experiences I've never experienced, but I would never be like, you know what, this book trash as hell because I didn't experience that.
But instead of turning to give a shitty review, I'm gonna start with some, like, basic searches so I can continue my learning to be like,
That's true.
"Is this something I didn't understand,
Hmm.
or was it bad writing?" Because, like, to your point of, like, this book that you hated, I absolutely think because you're talking about sexual assault culture, you're talking about, like, um, misogyny built in every sentence of the book,
Oh yeah.
that's when we should be writing one-star reviews because that's
Yeah.
when it's like, we need to call this out because, like, until there are enough seats at the table that all stories are being heard effectively, yeah, maybe we don't need another misogynistic book out there, but
Yeah. So it
what
could
do
be
I know?
rough.
Yeah.
It could be rough. So
And
yeah.
I think horror to, like, bring us all the way back around to Summerween, I think horror has to walk a very fine tightrope because the
Yes.
same way that like crime stories and true crime based fiction has to walk that tightrope of, is it for the like ghastly ghouls who are like murder worshippers,
Mm-hmm.
or is it like respectful? Like what is the point here? What is the, so I think it all has to be a little careful
Oh,
when the
yeah.
slasher's going a little too hard. Is this some form of misogyny, or is
Yeah.
it just like, is it gore because we need to do like a wellness check, or is it just like, okay, hell yeah? So my, the two wolves inside me, one says hell yeah, the other says we need a wellness check.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I brought up short stories before, or collecting a collection of stories, and I think it's a great thing for the summer as well. Anything that you can kind of pick up and put down as you're like going to the beach, you're going to the pool, you're doing whatever you want to do. It's a good way to celebrate Summerween. This one specifically, though, Brie, this is called Don't Turn Out the Lights. It was edited by Jonathan Mayberry, and it is a tribute to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. It's a middle grade horror anthology curated by Jonathan Mayberry, and it features stories from R.L. Stine, Madeline Root, and Anna Reeve Dew, and many more.
Hmm. My
Like
girl.
I know whose names I have to shout out for you. But Don't Turn Out the Lights. Again, it's middle grade, but I think I preach it all the time. But if you want to try a new genre, go young and see if you like the like baseline trappings of it before you start trying YA or adult versions of the genre. But again, it's curated by New York Times bestselling author and master of macabre Jonathan Mayberry. It's a chilling tribute to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Flesh-hungry ogres, brains full of spiders, haunted houses you can't escape. This collection of 35 terrifying stories from the Horror Writers Association has it all, including ghastly illustrations from Iris Compier that will absolutely chill readers to the bone. So turn off your lamps, click on your flashlights, and prepare, if you dare, to be utterly spooked. I won't read the full list of authors because 35 stories, 35 authors, but definitely check it out. That is Don't Turn Out the Lights. And if you are looking for another great YA anthology, Our Shadows Have Claws was edited by Yamil Saeed. Um, Yamil Saeed Mendez, so my page break, and Amparo Ortiz, which includes past guests and Davila Cardinal and Claribel A. Ortega. So another great one in there. Um,
Yes.
but of course, y'all know I love my YA in middle grade, especially in the summer. So I wanted to do a horror quick list. If you want Yellow Jackets meets One of Us is Lying from Spell Shop author Sarah Beth Durst, we have The Lake House. It's a survival horror thriller following three girls who are being watched and hunted in the woods. And then we've got a Heathers meets Fear Street in a sickly sweet, hilariously over the top slasher novel with Tastes Like Candy by Jessica Lacey, where a senior year goodbye morphs into carnival carnage at Pritchett High. Book 2 comes this September, just called Taste Like Candy 2. And then back to middle grade, we have Camp Scare by Delilah S. Dawson. It's a great time and eerie, twisty ghost story about 12-year-old Parker who only wants a summer of fun and new friendship at sleepaway camp, but ends up finding a nightmare instead. So yeah, I think I needed to just do like a little quick list there for you. Oh yeah, yeah. So little bit of that.
I'm into it. I'm into it.
Yeah,
I love the quick list. I'm also going to add another middle grade horror,
please.
The Jumbies and the Rise of the Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. And it follows the story of this young girl. She is on this like Caribbean island and she has to work with her friends to try to figure out and like stop these specific type of jumbies or spirits who is trying to take over the minds of the people that is she's around, but she's also feeling alone because there are some adults blaming her in like her ancestry of things that's happening. So she's having like tough conversations with her friends, but also trying to like show that independence that happens when you're in this age range, when it's like you're not like a baby, but you're like a growing person. So like watching her go through that and being encouraged by her friends or discouraged by her friends and just talking about what makes a strong friendship while also trying to like stop her town from being taken over by these spirits that have malicious intent was just done really well. So those are just some
You've got
things I
those
wanted to
on
add.
Yeah, you've got those on my list. They look so,
Mhm.
like, from what I've heard you say about them, they just look so good.
They
And,
are.
oh,
She
and
really did that. Tracy
she
Baptiste, shout out to you.
it really does sound like she did that because
She really did.
I don't know. I also think like if you're trying to give your if you are a parent, hi, congratulations. Like, whew, what
Congrats.
what a life you're living.
Living it.
Give your kid a well balanced palette um, of their reading. Great. Uh, I think it's good to experiment and try new things. Like once you get them hooked on reading, slip in some things here and there to be like, what do you think of this? What
Mhm.
do you Otherwise, because like, you know, you never know.
No, you don't want them just reading one thing.
I mean, it's okay if they do. You and I do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I read a
I
little
do
bit of
too.
different things within it, but
Yes.
yeah, but I hear you. Yeah,
Yeah, like
you wanna diversify their reading.
help them now so they don't have to try to do it like we do.
Exactly. Definitely, because we really gotta you gotta search when you get this age. You gotta search,
I couldn't
and you
even tell
gotta
you how
look
old I
for it.
am, and I'm with you. I
No,
can't be searching.
no. Please, just pop up.
Uh-uh.
Why do I gotta do all of this?
Oh,
Um,
that's why I do the podcast, actually. It's so I get book recs.
yeah, we know the truth.
We
No,
know
I'm
the
just
truth.
kidding. We know the truth. I know
Oh,
what I'm here for. No.
yeah, to tell
Um,
me what to read next.
listen, um,
What you got for me?
so I know I wrote some stuff in our document, and
Where you know you
when
can
you were
go off the
talking,
rails.
I
Yeah,
am going off the rails, is what I'm saying.
do it.
So I want to talk about, which is probably my favorite book of the year. It's a nonfiction, and it's called Why I Love Horror. I really, really hope that some of y'all have heard of this book and read this book. I've been following
Oh.
this author on Instagram. Her name is Mother Horror, I believe. And wow. So this is essays on horror literature edited by Becky Siegel Spratford. These authors on the back are all authors who I've read from. Most of them I loved. If you have ever followed me online, you know I have a love-hate relationship with Grady Hendrix.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's really on hater. I can speak to it. I can
Yeah,
speak to it.
and that's valid.
I could speak to it, but reading this made me be like, I really need to give this man another chance. I
Mhm.
really need to give him another chance. So, why I love horror, I think it's such a great concept because if you are like fans of like Tanner Reeve Dew, like myself, Stephen Graham Jones, Victor LaVale, Rachel Harrison, Nuzo Arno, Jennifer Mac Mahone, Josh Mallerman. I mean, the list goes on. They all are writing a story of why they love horror, like what happened in their personal lives that made them love horror and then want to write horror. It
And isn't
is
that what we need? I'm like, well,
fantastic.
my
I want
TBR
to do
just got
this
like boned
long.
because of that. Like,
This is like great. The stories in it, really Paul Tremblay and Grady Hendrix story. I was not expecting that at all. There also was like Brian King, Haley Piper. Sorry, there's just so many different authors in here that it really to me while reading their stories really put in context of their writing style. Like it gave more insight that I think any interview I've seen of them could have ever given me. So I really think this was such a great idea. It's my favorite book of the year. My second favorite book is another horror. It's called Burn Down the Houses. But this one is really, it's done really, really well. So this is a high recommendation that you even see me with it on in my hand because I don't buy a lot of books. And I said, this one must be on the shelf. And I'm really a hardcover girl. And I said, I gotta be Flappiana. And that's all right. I gotta be Flappiana. But yeah,
And
this is
some
my
days we have to
recommendation.
be.
Yeah.
Bree, that's incredible. I literally while you were talking, I went and borrowed it. So
Yeah. It's so good. It's incredible.
because I love that. I listened to one similar to that. Like I think it was about horror film. Why the genre spoke to them. Their kind of like first horror movie. And I think
Yeah.
that to me sounds so compelling. And there's
Oh,
so many
yeah.
authors I love on that list that I'm like,
Oh, so many. So
please
many.
give me more.
It's so good. Yeah.
Oh, well,
You
for
gotta
my
get it.
believe me, I will. And it probably won't be long before I will also be Floppiana and have a paperback
Yeah.
copy on my shelf. I'm like,
You
and
got
Embry was
to.
right. It was good. Now I
It's
own
so
it.
good.
Well, I wanted to kind of go, shocker when I say this, campy. Instead of campy, though, it's camp because to me, summer camp, again, I know I talked about it with the first one, but it's all together. So here's like two adult titles back to back. Summer's Never Over by Darby Bozeman and A Murder Most Camp by Nicholas D. Dalmizio. Summer's Never Over is a dual timeline debut novel. It's a slow burn, character driven mystery, not a fast paced thriller. And it's got a great cover. It came out at the beginning of June. It's an addictive, again, dual timeline debut novel where a woman confronts her past at the remote southern summer camp where the tragic death of her fellow counselor may not have been an accident after all. 5 years ago, Greer left her family's summer camp in the mountains of Georgia and vowed she'd never return. An idyllic season had turned into a nightmare after a mysterious phantom began stalking the camp and ended with Greer's friend and fellow counselor dead. Losing Steph shattered everything, and Greer's been fleeing from grief ever since. But then Greer's mother dies, and Greer finds herself back at Dread's Cove, surrounded by the people she was closest to that intense summer. Two ex boyfriends, one a childhood sweetheart, the other the guy she's never gotten over, and old friends, including Margot, Steph's best friend. Greer and Margot didn't leave things on the best of terms, but now Margot needs her. Margot never believed that Steph's death in that horrific fire was an accident, and she's on the trail of an explosive secret Steph took to her grave. Greer has to make a choice to keep the Cove's secrets and her own, or finally face the truth about that summer. That was Summer's Never Over, Darby Bozeman. And then A Murder Most Camp is listed as The Guncle meets Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies, in a fun, twisty mystery following a spoiled Nepo baby forced to work at a struggling summer camp who stumbles into a real life murder mystery he has no choice but to solve. It's camp to say the least, with endless pop culture references, jokes, and overreactions. So you can kind of go down one trail where it's a little more murdery thrillery, or you can like dual time it because I'm a sucker for that. You know,
I'm
your
a
boy was
sucker for a dual time. You
you,
better change the time on me. I
you,
need to be in 1787 and 2048 at the
you
same time.
better change the time on me. I want to be 12 and I want to be 28. Like,
I'm trying to be 74. Bring me through it.
take me through time.
Yes.
So that's kind of like that route. And then if you want more kind of like the lighthearted, kind of cozy mystery thriller, that's more A
Mm-hmm.
Murder Most Camp. But I'm not kidding when it's like hit you over the head with pop culture references. So if that's not your cup of tea, keep that in mind. But I don't I don't have a problem with that.
Same.
So
No
just
problem.
vibes.
Just vibes. Just
Just vibes.
vibes. Okay, so I may have talked about this book. Um, I said that Why I Love Horror is like my favorite book of the year. It's my favorite nonfiction, if I want to be specific. Fiction, I would say, is On Sunday She Picked Flowers by Yaya Schofield. I have not seen one person I like or don't even know talk negatively about this book. We all, collectively as a community, have decided this book is great. I don't know what Goodreads is talking about. I'm not listening to the haters. I'm not on there. I don't know. I don't want to know nobody who don't like this book. This book is fantastic. And I love it, like I said, when I was talking about Dead First, and it's just like, soon as the books start, poker in the head, like kind of vibe. That is what you're getting also. And on Sunday, she picked flowers. So this story, it opens up in the South, and it is around the time, it is before Black people are getting even the right to vote. And I forget where, well, like the actual year, so I apologize for that, but it's a very particular part of the South. And it starts off with this young woman. She has done everything that her mother has asked her to, and her mother has repaid her with berating her, making her feel small, and verbally abusing her, and at times physically accosting her as well. And while she is like trying to do everything she can for her mom, she comes up with this plan of like, I can't live here anymore. So I must leave. I can't experience this shit no more. I've had enough. So I got to get up out of here. So she makes this plan. She tells her mom that she's going to leave. And then they get into an argument. The argument ends in tragedy. She's on the run. She boats, leave the house, well, however the house was, and she goes to this town, I think a couple towns over. And she meets this white woman, and she's like, I need a place to stay. The white woman, like, I got a little shack out back if you need it. But the white woman is also kind of like, as a Black reader, I'm like, we got to keep our eye on her because we don't know if we can trust her, especially at this time. So I'm just like, got my eye on her. So she goes to the back and she goes into this like little shack of a house. And she's like, something about it is creepy. Even the white woman is like, look, there's a spirit or something back there, but if you feel like you want to live there, go ahead. And she feels like she can do it. So she goes into this house. And I just also want to note that she possess like a type of root magic, like in like understanding of herbs and how the natural world is. She has an understanding of that, which I truly, truly love in horror. So she goes to the house, she checks it out, she feels something. She doesn't know what it is, but she feels that there's something there. So she ends up making this house her own. So she, learns how to hunt. She learns how to build things and make things. And she keeps giving offerings to whatever she's feeling. She don't really know what she's feeling. She don't know what's out there. She knows something's out there. And she keeps giving it food, giving it food. And this thing is stalking her. Oh, yeah, is stalking her. So then the story takes twists that are unbelievable. I'm talking unbelievable. And I've said this before, I don't know where I've said this before. If you read the Patternist series by Octavia E. Butler, specifically the Wild Seed book, you're going to get some of those vibes of like transforming into things on the line of bestiality in this book. It is very fucking creepy. Like, it
Yeah.
is super creepy,
Yeah.
super eerie, but it's also like a story of a young woman who was plagued by abuse from the women in her family, had to escape to find a life for her own. And even though she is like kind of in a relationship with something,
Yeah.
she's not gonna let you determine her
Mm,
worth. She still will
yeah.
take you out. She will take you out, and you might have to get taken out. It's a it's a cautionary tale of like, just because I might look young and naive, don't actually mean that I'm young and naive. I'm still about that life. So I love this. I love this book immensely.
Does it have some of that like good for her energy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Some of it, yeah, some
Okay.
of it. It's
Yeah,
really hard to explain
without
without
spoiling anything.
spoiling and passive what I've said.
Okay, I'll be reading it. I'm also like, now I gotta look at some of these Goodread reviews because I fear that they're probably too similar to the beloved reviews for why some of them are bad.
Oh, probs.
Yeah,
Probs, yeah,
I hate
people do
people.
that. They they exhaust me.
I gotta be like
Seriously.
this. Like,
Yeah, yeah, but this
unless we
book
need to
was
call
done.
something out, just don't say anything. Like,
Yeah, mhm, and it's not often that I read a horror, and it's 5 stars automatically, and it's the first of the
mm,
author, and it's, like, the first time I read from this author. The
oh,
first time I think this was her debut. I'll have to, like, double
damn.
check. To be this good,
Yeah.
your pen game is hot.
Oh,
So
pen on fire.
automatically,
Yeah.
I'm reading whatever a Post-it note. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm going to the store, riveting.
You,
Apples, oranges, toothpaste.
you are
Outstanding.
sat and ready.
I'm talking ready. I said, "Wow, this is really good." I had people reach out to me and was like, "That book was amazing." And I was like, "You guys, you don't understand.
You don't even know
That
the
was
half of it.
really good." I mean,
Oh,
it's and I don't reread books, but
yeah.
it's the first time I was like, "I gotta just start over." Like, I gotta restart, like, immediately. Start over. Yeah.
Gonna be interested to see if that starts to translate to other books for you.
Yeah.
Well, my last pick, I have another suite for people here. This
Yeah.
was a bit of time travel, aka we are going to be in a very specific period, and that is something I love. First, we have 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. This came out in August of last year. You might know Jimmy from Dead 11. This is a twisty, edge of your seat novel about a unique haunting in the early 2000s. We follow Piper Lowry, a public library clerk in charge of liaising with the local middle school. Piper can tell right away there's something strange about the new girl in eighth grade. Avery Wallace won't touch any kind of technology, not even the computers at the library. And her mother comes to school with her every day, refusing to leave her side, not even when Avery uses the restroom. And then there are the rumors, the whispers Piper hears from kids in the hallway and parents around town. Avery's mother is a witch. Her sister and father were killed by something supernatural. A strange virus killed them. Seeing how isolated and lonely Avery is, Piper befriends her but quickly realizes it might just be the worst decision she's ever made. Because there's something dark inside Avery Wallace and it's spreading. Then I figured, why not go back to the 80s? This is Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chismar. Um, Richard's name is out there left and right. USA Today and New York Times bestselling author. This is small town evil that is genuinely chilling, something brand new and exciting. And that is a quote from Stephen King. So, summer of 1988, where the mutilated bodies begin to turn up in a small Maryland town. Grisly evidence lead police to terrifying assumption that a serial killer is on the loose in the quiet suburb. But soon as rumor begins to spread that the evil stalking local teens is not entirely human, law enforcement, as well as members of the FBI, are certain that the killer is a living, breathing madman and he's playing games with them. For a once peaceful community trapped in the depths of paranoia and suspicion, it feels like the nightmare will never end. Recent college graduate Richard Chismar returns to his hometown just as curfew is enacted and a neighborhood watch is formed. Amid preparing for his wedding and embarking on a writing career, he soon finds himself thrust into a real life horror story. Inspired by the terrifying events, Richard writes a personal account of the serial killer's reign of terror, unaware that these events will continue to haunt him for years to come. A clever, terrifying, and heart-rending work of metafiction, Chasing the Boogeyman is the ultimate marriage between horror fiction and true crime. Chismar's dazzling work of fresh imagination and psychological insight, which is a quote from Carolyn Kepnes, is on full display in this truly unique novel that will haunt you long after you turn the final page. Couldn't not include that one, not just for the time capsule element, but like, hello, metafiction. And then the last one is 80s Ghosts by V.S. Lawrence. The year is 2009, and Chrissy Rodriguez is determined to make her ghost hunting vlog an internet success. She's only one more failed investigation away from financial ruin and having to move back home. When she receives an email asking her to investigate Merlin High, a school that burned down in the 80s, she is presented with a unique opportunity that could make or break here. As they explore the decaying halls, searching for evidence of the paranormal, Chrissy notices that her team is acting a little off. Everything begins to unravel, blurring the lines between past and present. With her team stretched to its limits, Chrissy realizes that some secrets want to be found, and some of them have even been waiting. So that's my time travel trio of 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano, Chasing the Boogeyman by Richard Chismar, and 80s Ghosts by V.S. Lawrence.
And I will be adding all three to
Thank
my
you.
TBR. Every three.
I am an absolute sucker for like a time capsule read.
I love it.
Right?
It's so good. It's so good.
I wasn't around in the 80s, but I like that
Same.
true crime pull. But not only was I around in the 2000s, I was in high school in the 2000s. So I would very much like to see how someone else is doing a time that I feel very much conscious of.
Yes. That's too good.
Yeah.
Not to do a shameless plug
No,
before
please.
I start my last one. So today, should I say the day we're filming or no?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
okay. So
It
today
might
is.
just be a little later, but
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But you missed it though. So I'm sorry telling you you missed it. You missed it though. But today is July 1st and I probably it's like 2:38 my time, but a few hours ago I announced July Noir, which is like a small version of Black Halloween, and it's happening the weekend after the 4th of July. So there'll be so many sprints we'll get to read and like read together. And you're probably like, what's July Noir? So July Noir is a shorter version of Black Halloween, which is something I created and trademarked in 2023. And it focuses on authors, specifically Black authors primarily, who write spooky, thriller, horror, mystery, anything in the realm of spookiness. And we also highlight Indigenous authors who write horror as well. So in July Noir, Black Halloween has the way you do Black Halloween that happens in October is that I created a town that's called Toolish Parish. And Toolish Parish, to me, is a spooky love story to New Orleans, which is where I'm from. And Toolish Parish has 7 locations, and each location has 6 prompts, sorry. And you must find books that fits those prompts. There's sometimes you can double up, sometimes you can't. It depends on the rules. You can definitely go and check out my channel and find out more about it. But I say all this to say that for July Noir that's happening in 2 weeks, in the actual Black Halloween, you have 3 roles you can choose from and like role, like what kind of person you want to be. But for July Noir, the role is already chosen for you, and you just have to choose a location that you want to explore and read prompts for. And one of the locations in Black Halloween, or like I said, will be in for the July Noir version of Black Halloween, it's a location called the Laissez-Faire Streetcar. And the Laissez-Faire Streetcar has to do with time manipulation. So books that are horror, that are thriller, that are mysteries, that are cozy mysteries, that has to do with time capsules like we are talking about just now, and just like going in and out of time. And some people are super creative. They'll be like, one book started in the United States and it ended up in Ghana. That's also a way of time being
Time
traveled.
changed.
Yeah, time changed. So like some people are like really into it. And it's one of my favorite locations in Toolish Parish. And there's like different locations that I don't have to go too deep into them, but it just made me think of that, of like, you can find books in so many different like spooky genres that will fit that location as well.
And y'all, the Breeze channel will be linked, of course, in the video, but I'll specifically call out the July Noir in the episode description so you can check that out, get more information. If you love fun reading challenges, not only is July Noir incredible, but Black Halloween is like just so amazing. And if you know you love a genre and subgenres, it's a great way, again, to challenge yourself. Like it's fun to find one where you're in your lane, you're in your niche,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still being forced out of it to a degree. And that's what
Oh
I
yeah.
love about it. It's so
Mm-hmm.
creative and it's such a beautiful love letter. Like what you do every time, I'm just like, I get it. I'm
Thank
lucky to
you.
be here. Like,
Thank you. I just
yeah.
really love it. And I love the Discord too. And you can join the Discord even after, like, you'll see this video after July Noir is over, but you can even join the Discord. People still comment in the Discord, be like, hey, I'm looking for a rec for this or whatever. It's like a good way to foster community and
Oh,
support authors who aren't traditionally supported as well.
I
So I
love
think
that.
this is like such a good idea, and I love it.
I'll also I'll pull the Discord link and I'll specifically link it in the show notes as well. So again, if you want a
Yeah.
place to talk to like fellow readers, Breeze Discord, great place to go.
It is, it is
Dive
a
in
good
there.
place, a good time
Yeah.
over there. But my last book I wanted to talk about is, my favorite mangaka. Um, for a lot of, like, different things, like, for novels, I might read, I do read horror, like I said, I do read thriller, crime, detective stuff. I've been really into, like, fantasy, like series. Been really into them recently, but like just I can go a couple different places. But for manga, I only typically just like to read horror. Like that's it. I don't really. Sometimes I'll dabble, but I just prefer to stay in that horror lane. And my favorite mangaka is Junji Ito, and I love him down. I'm actually getting a tattoo of his Uzumaki series. Like I love him down. Okay. So I started reading one of his books called Gaio. It's one of his like 2-in-1 deluxe edition mangas. And I haven't gotten so far in it. And I've, shout out to my friend who bought me a birthday gift and it's a Kobo. So shout out to my friend for that. So I'm 12% into
I
Gaio.
love my Kobo.
I love it bad. I love it bad.
Bad.
I love it
Have you
bad.
signed in with your library card into your Kobo yet?
No, because I accidentally lost my library stuff on the keys we talked about
Oh
offline.
no. Okay. Well, call your library. They'll help you out.
Yeah, I
But
gotta,
yes.
I gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta get it. But once I get it, it's gonna be gotten.
Because
And I'm
when you
gonna
borrow
put it
something
right
in
on in.
Libby, it shows up automatically on your Kobo. Because we have direct integration with Kobo. So when you borrow something in the Libby app, the card that's linked, it will already be downloaded for you. Of course,
Oh my,
they don't like sync, but
yeah,
yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Shameless plug, like, and not paid per
Shameless
se.
plug,
Like, I bought
not
my
paid.
Kobo with my own money. It was not
Yeah,
like,
I
but
love this thing so bad. And
so
then shut,
good.
I love the cover I got
Ooh, I love
from
that.
the company is
Stop
called
it.
Fully Booked, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
not
it's
me
like it
shopping.
I know it like automatically clicks and then it has this thing in the back. Hold on. It's just I mean, you know, I do have the pen. Shout out to my friend. She really came through with this birthday gift.
The pen is
Um,
fierce.
the pen, and then I bought this myself, the
Ooh,
clicker. How about that one? That's the only
I
thing I
keep, like,
bought.
tempting myself with the with the little page turner.
I have friends who have the thing, and they were
Yeah,
like, "You need it," and I'm like, "Do I? I don't know." So I haven't used it yet, but
we'll
I
see.
plan to. But Gaio, it starts off. Before I go any too deep, the reason why I love Genji Ito is because he is committed to a thing. In every book, whether it's spirals, whether it's about a world changing, looking at a planet, whatever, he is committed to the theme throughout the entire book.
You are not like, not even I don't think you could sell it enough. The, like,
No, overly
commitment.
committed, maybe.
Exactly, like,
He is
I
committed.
it's truly what makes me think of, like, oh, it reminds me that, like, writing is art as well, because
Exactly.
you're a little more forced to see it, but when you're like, "Oh, this is a through," like, this is the theme that if this were a written word book, you'd be like, oh, this was played with throughout. You're seeing it like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
frame.
Every frame, Genji Ito, whether you're reading the first page, the 14th page, the 100th page, the 394 page, you're gonna know this is about spirals. You're gonna know this is about a smell. This is about a weird girl. Like you're gonna know the theme every page. He's never gonna let you forget what the theme is.
And when you
So
think
that
you got out, he brings you right back in.
he brings you right back
You have a
in because
page
you're
and a
only
half
out
when you're
for a
like,
second.
right. You had like a page and a half where you're like, oh, maybe Tomi's not in this one. Boom, there she is.
Tommy is back at it. Okay. So yeah, so that's what I love about him because he's like, I love that such commitment to a theme. So Gaia focus on is the floating smell of death hangs over the island. What is it? A strange legged fish appears on the scene. So begins. Tadashi and Kaori spiral into the horror and stench of the sea. Here is the creepiest masterpiece of horror manga ever from the creator of Uzumaki, Genji Ito. Hold your breath until all is revealed. Something is rotten in Okinawa. Let me tell you this. Like I said, I'm only 12 pages in, and just I love how Genji Ito writes his characters where it's like they're going crazy about the theme. Like they're literally losing their mind because of the theme. And this girl, her name is Kiori, she's like, something smells. She is like, you have to do something about this smell. And Tadashi is like, what are you smelling? I don't know what you're smelling. Then he's starting to smell it. Now I'm starting to see, like, maybe he's losing his mind a little bit. So I just really love the commitment to the theme, how horrid it is, the strange creations that he comes up with. Why does the fish have legs? Why is the fish giving spider?
No, thank you.
What is going on
I
here?
rebuke
So
that.
it's real horror.
Yeah.
It's really twisted. It's some twisted stuff you're gonna get from him.
And you bring up such a good point. I love the way that he does that, like, unhinged, are you well? Like, we're losing our grasp on reality. We're going a little cuckoo bananas. Like, because there are so few instances where I can think of that, like, crazy, and I hate the word crazy, but crazy by way of obsession almost
Oh yeah.
is how he does it. Like, the only
Yeah.
thing I can think, like, when you were saying it, what brought to mind for me was the green ribbon story, because you think
Yeah.
of like the husband's persistence of like, why won't you tell me? Why won't you tell me? It's like,
Exactly.
it's that kind of energy. And he doesn't just do
Mm-hmm.
it with one character, but it's also not like beat you over the head with it, or you're even going like, oh, shut up, we get it. Like, it's it's almost
It's a
like
skill.
it snaps and happens. Like,
Uh
before you even realize someone's slipping, they've slipped. And you're like, oh, and you're caught off guard, but you also believe it or buy it instantly.
yeah.
Oof.
Agreed. Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really good. I'm
yeah.
definitely a fan. I just really think y'all should get into it because it's just such a good one. Um, yeah, that's my last one. I had some others, but they weren't horror. I was trying to stick with horror, so you
So,
know.
you know what? Inspiration strikes at all times and we'll take it. Bree,
Yeah, and I started adding stuff in the
as I'm
middle.
like furiously typing in the background, I'm like, keep
I'm
going,
so
keep going. No,
sorry. Yeah. I was deleting too. I was like, this is it. I'm not talking about
you're like,
that.
I'm reordering for you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But Bree, thank you for being here. You're my absolute favorite. And I'm so glad we got to
Oh,
talk.
thank you.
I'm glad we got to talk like Summerween. It's so nice.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited when can you remind the folks again when July Noir is starting?
July Noir is starting July 10th through the 12th, so that weekend. I'm gonna try to schedule my sprint around 10 a.m. on that Friday. And then Saturday, I'm introducing people to two new hosts of Black Queen as well, co-hosts. So one of them
Exciting.
will be sprinting on Saturday, the other will be sprinting on Sunday.
Ooh, you know what? This episode's gonna go up on the 9th then. I just like
Yes.
we will get it out there. We will push it out there.
Yeah.
Folks, check out all of Breeze. Good work out there on the internet, linked in the description. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Let me know in the comments on Spotify or on YouTube which of these titles you want to add to your Summerween reading list, or give me your recommendations there as well. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And as always, happy reading.
Bye.
You can sample and borrow the books from today's episode in the Libby app, or if you're a librarian, find them for purchase in Overdrive Marketplace. Book Lounge by Libby is a proud Evergreen Podcast signature program. Explore more amazing shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. This podcast is produced and recorded by me, Joe Skelly, with editing by Andrew Alonso. Our theme music is High Five by Rex Banner, used with permission. Book Lounge by Libby is presented by the Libby app. Learn more at libbylife.com/booklounge.